Hi there, welcome back. Just thought I'd give a bit of an update really on the last few weeks, training wise and racing really, and mainly just give a bit of a recap of the National 12 stage last weekend. Haven't had a chance to put a video up yet, so for those of you who are not familiar to the National 12 stage, it's a sort of one of the highlights of the club scene in the UK. It's a 12 stage relay. Generally, the Nationals has always been at Sutton Park just outside of Birmingham. So it's a nice big sort of national park just outside Birmingham city centre in a place called Sutton, obviously Sutton Park. Nice off-road or sort of closed road circuit. Really good venue to have the event. I ran the Midlands there a few weeks ago. I ran a short leg. So the 12 stage relays is a mixture of sort of long and short legs. Long legs being about just over 8k, the short legs being just over 5k. At the Midlands, you run sort of 4 long legs followed by 8 short legs. Nationals is slightly different, where they sort of have a long leg, then a couple of short, then a long, a couple of short. So it's sort of the long legs are sort of interspersed between the short legs throughout. So and also on those days you've got the women as well, the women's teams, but they do the long and the short legs. But I believe it's a 6-stage relay for them as well, so slightly less in terms of the numbers, but the distances are the same, and I believe they do a long and a short leg as well. So it's great to have both sort of female and male sort of competitions on the same day, which is always good to see. So I ran quite well. I sort of ran for the B team at Western Tempo at the Midlands. It's a real stacked team they have at Western. We have quite a few sort of elite duathletes and some very quick guys from juniors all the way up to sort of vets. I think we've got a couple of juniors that were sort of top 10 at the National Cross, and then we've got a couple of elite duathletes that are actually V40 as well. So it's pretty difficult to make the the team. So I was in the sort of the B team for Western at the Midlands. Running a short leg, ran a long leg last year. This year I sort of ran the short leg. First time I've run the short leg at this slightly different distance. I think originally it used to be a sort of a 4.8k. The short legs now are about 5.2, 5.1. Can't remember the actual length. I'd come into the race. I hadn't really tapered too much for the Midlands, which was a few weeks ago now. I ran a 17:33, which I was pretty pleased with, to be fair. I think just off the back of the sort of Nationals last month, still sort of building my fitness back up from the sort of period over Christmas where I was really not well. So the legs are starting to come back now. I felt quite good going into the Midlands. I sort of eased back on the cycling a little bit on a couple of the cycle sessions that week, but kept the run sessions going through. Hadn't tapered on my sort of long run the weekend before as well, which I sort of did. I think it was probably one of my longest training runs I've done. I think it was 3 hours 20 I was out for. Got a little bit lost, to be honest, on the way around, but really enjoyed the run, felt really strong. And actually I find I'm so used to running these longer distances now that I just go out and enjoy them, and it's a really nice way to get some mileage in on a weekend. But so I ran 17:33. I think felt pretty good with that, to be fair. I was hoping that coming into the Nationals that I could hopefully perform a bit better. I was unsure actually. To get to the Nationals, there's obviously the Midlands. We have Southern Road Relays. I think there's a Northern Road Relays, and there's probably there may be one in Wales and Scotland as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So we actually qualified 2 teams. You have to make the sort of top 20 at the Midlands to get the qualification for the Nationals. But found out in the week that actually we were only probably going to take 1 team to the Nationals, so I was actually unsure whether or not I was going to be running. I think there's a couple of guys running marathons last weekend, a couple of people just with the Easter break probably not around, so I sort of got pushed up to the 18, which was fantastic because I was really looking forward to just having another hit out just to see how, see if I could perform a little bit better at the Nationals in the Midlands. I think the beauty of the Nationals as well, it's sort of one of the pinnacles of the club scene. Obviously you've got the National Cross, which is a huge race, but the National Relays, it's a really good atmosphere. Some good names there as well, some really good athletes. Like I said, I was lucky to make the team for Western, and I think I pulled up in the car and in the car park in the morning when I got there, and Alex Yee had sort of stepped out in front of me. There was Mark Scott there as well, International Olympic sort of 5k 10k runner, and also Andy Butchard, he was also there. So there was some really good talent there at the weekend. It was really good to see as well these sort of elite and pro athletes running for their clubs, putting their club vest back on and giving back to the sport as well. I think it's really motivational for even older, slightly older people like myself, but also for the younger athletes that are there. I think it's really good to be able to watch these people at a free event that you could just rock up to and see these people. So it was really good to see a lot of the likes of Alex Yee and Mark Scott and Andy sort of at these events putting on the club vest. So myself, I was on leg 10, so quite late in the day. I think the race starts about 12 o'clock. It's about a 4-hour race, to be fair, so quite a long race. I think the top teams are probably just under 4 hours, probably 3:50 something. I can't remember what the winning time was. And then I think we were probably around 4 hours 20, something like that. So really good day, really good to watch. And like I said, I was on leg 10, around 17:33 at the Midlands. And I sort of checked the watch beforehand, looked at my Strava from a few weeks ago just to look at the splits that I was doing there, just to try and give me a bit of a gauge as I was running last weekend. So, for example, I think I went through the first mile at Midlands in 5:42. Obviously, it's quite an incline on the first mile of the run at Sutton. I think I went through a couple of seconds down, actually, last weekend when I did the Nationals. However, the sort of mile 2 and mile 3, I really picked up the pace. There was some quite interesting signs out on the course, some big banners saying up the gate, which I presume one of the clubs had put that up to encourage the athletes. I mean, when I was warming down, I did see some of the guys shouting to one of the athletes, up your gate, up your gate. So actually it was quite a good trigger, even though I wasn't part of their club. It was quite nice to see that banner, and it also made me really sort of dig in and work quite hard. So I think mile 2 and mile 3 were quite substantially quicker than what I ran last week, and I really worked hard. I think, unfortunately, I think being on leg 10, it was quite spread out. I went off with one of the guys from Brat, who unfortunately was probably a bit too quick for me just to get on the back of. But I sort of tried to just keep that guy as much in sight as I could, especially over the first sort of mile and a half, and just work hard really, and just see how much I could just try and hang on as much as possible. Second half of the race, I could hear somebody sort of chasing me down, which was sort of inevitable. I did think that I was going to get caught a little bit on that leg, especially running some of the real quick guys. I just tried to dig in, work hard, and up the gate as such on that sort of second and third sort of mile, which I think the second mile I was probably about 15 seconds quicker than what I was at the Midlands. I think my finishing time, I'll leave it down in the comments last week now, but I think I was a 17:16, I think it was. So a good sort of nearly 20 seconds quicker than what I was at the Midlands. So I was really chuffed with that, especially as I think it was 2 seconds slower through the first mile. So I was sort of a good 20 odd seconds quicker over sort of mile 2 and mile 3. So I was really, really chuffed to sort of see that progress over the last couple of weeks, which, looking at some of the results, I know Ben Price, one of the guys that ran at the Midlands, he just recently broke 15 minutes for 5k. I think he ran 14:49, which was around a minute quicker than what he ran at Sutton. So we think there's probably about a minute differentiation between sort of the time that you run at Sutton to maybe what you can run over 5k. So that hopefully shows I'm in around sort of 16, 15, 16, 16 sort of shape. So I'm looking to hopefully get on a quick 5k over the next month or so if I can, and try and get close to this sort of 16 minute. But I think I'm in that sort of shape of around 16:15 at the moment. I ran a sort of 16:19 last year, so I'm hoping I can just get that time down a little bit closer to 16. Love to go under 16 again. It's going to be difficult, another year sort of older, but I'm training hard, recovering well, and I'm trying to do everything I can. So I'm hoping that this year I can get that a little bit closer to 16 again. It might mean that I just need to run a few more races. I only really ran one decent 5k last year properly. Ran a 10k race, but I didn't race much over 5k. So I raced once. I actually think I only raced once after over 5k and sort of went sub 16:20. So another couple of races perhaps it might have got a bit closer. All in all, pretty pleased. The team ran pretty well. I think we were 21st overall. It was great to watch Alex Yee, Andy Butchard. I missed Mark Scott. He was on the first leg for his club, but Alex Yee sort of brought, I think it was Kent AC he was running for. He brought them through from about 4th to about 1st on his leg. I think he was on a leg 8 or something. And Andy Butchard was running for, I think something Central, his team's called. Central AC or something like that, and I think they won overall. I think he actually ran the quickest leg on the day by about a second. I think both Andy and Alex were sub 25 on the long leg, which is pretty insane, especially for Alex Yee, who's sort of triathlete at the end of the day. Yes, he's a phenomenal runner, but to come and sort of run that sort of pace, and to be honest, he looked pretty fresh, to be fair. He didn't look like he was absolutely on the rivet. So yeah, be good to go and watch him, see how he's doing sort of on the Olympic circuit this summer. Obviously gearing up probably for Paris as well, so be really interesting to see how he goes this year. But he looked like he was running extremely well. So like I said, really pleased with my performance. Close to 20 seconds quicker than I was 2 weeks ago. So if I ran it again in a couple of weeks and I was 20 seconds quicker, I'd be super chuffed. So also gives me a target for next year. Can I get down to sub 17, which would be fantastic on that course. I've got to find another sort of 18 seconds, which actually isn't unattainable, I don't think. So we'll see how that pans out. And then this weekend, I've got duathlon over in Ludlow Castle, so Stormer Castle duathlon. So nice hilly course on the bike. So I'm looking forward to that. Early start at 8 a.m. so I'm going to be up and out early. But Ludlow for me is not too far, being based over in sort of Stourbridge, so it's about an hour's drive. I'll get over there early in the morning and hopefully try and get a good race out there. First duathlon for a little while, so obviously done the nationals. Seem to be running pretty well, so hopefully, yeah, we'll have a good race. And then I think it's World Champs in Ibiza is around the corner, so it'd be great to see how the team are going and how they're racing out there. So obviously I'm not racing that. Decided to focus on the sort of middle distance races this year, which both got postponed. So unfortunately I missed the cut-off entry point for the Ibiza Worlds, which is a bit of a shame. But that's what it is. So I'll look to get some good duathlons in through the summer and maybe see if I can find something else to do racing abroad. I've got a holiday over in Switzerland in July, which I'm looking forward to. It's my mum's 70th, so I'm going to get out there and have a nice week on the bike and just do and get some exploring in and hopefully get some good rides and a bit of training in whilst I'm out there. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But yeah, see how Ludlow goes. I'll give you a bit of a race recap on that soon. And yeah, if you haven't, like and subscribe. And yeah, hopefully see you out training, racing soon.